I think it's on. I think we're on.
Says we're live.
We are. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Well, it's really great to have you all, people listening to us, people who are part of the panel today. Today, I'm very excited because we're going to talk about gratitude. It's a very special topic to me because it brings to me so much in my life, because it's something I was not used to, a few years ago, and it's very a place where I can just feel good. So whenever I have a doubt or some emotions that I need to manage, I actually go back to that grateful place, and it just feels like home. So I'm excited to discuss it today with 4 different people who come from very different worlds, and so it's really interesting as well to see your different points of view in regard to gratitude. Fred is here, of course, with us today.
Yay.
Hi.
Don't say a word, don't be shy, come on.
So, very happy to see you guys. I'm so grateful to you for coming here. I have to make that one.
French humor, that's right. Yeah, it's okay. I have the same.
Yeah, I think they can hear by our accent that there is something French in us. Yes.
Yeah.
I have picked it up.
You did?
Great. And so today we're, like I said, welcoming 4 different people. So we have, before even introducing everyone else, whenever we invite speakers to participate in our panel, we really select them to represent the 4 bodies of ourselves. So today we have Christie, who's going to actually represent the physical body. Christie is a fitness professional, a personal trainer, but also a health coach, and she's based in Vancouver, BC. Say hi, Christie.
Hello, thank you.
Then we have Julia, and she challenged me to try to pronounce her last name. I'm taking the challenge here. So we have Julia Alejnikova. She's going to represent the emotional body. She's a human design specialist and writer, and she's based in BC as well, but in Whistler. Did I say your name well, or?
Hello. Yes, you're doing a good job.
Good attempt.
You're doing good. Thank you.
Good. And then we have James Robertson. He is looking after the mental body. He's representing the mental body today. He's also from BC, so today is very much BC oriented.
Woohoo!
So I feel like kind of fit. And James is actually now based in Valencia, Spain. And he's known as being a conscious coach. And finally, we have Andrea Javor, who's going to be representing our spiritual body. She's an astrologer and writer, and she's also based in Vancouver, BC. So welcome, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having us. It's good to be here.
Yay, thanks, Benny.
So let's get into our topic. So gratitude is important because it's very known as being a practice that can actually reveal a lot of benefits. There have been more and more research and scientific research that really prove that it can really impact your confidence, your willpower, your self-esteem, and can really help you actually manage better your emotions. So I'm just curious, what would gratitude actually mean to you? Maybe James, would you like to start and tell us what's your own definition of gratitude?
Absolutely. Yeah, I've definitely been deepening my practice of a lot of things over the last few years, but the one that's impacted my practice on gratitude most is my ability to create what I call a radical presence. of being present within myself in the moment, connected with my higher seat of self. And the more connected I am with myself, the more I have available to me love, happiness, peace, and gratitude.
Great. And did you say radical presence?
Radical presence, yeah.
Can you, is it the way you framed it, or is it like a common practice?
Just the way I like to say it. I just, in terms of just being dramatically present, like not just partially, not just having a look around the room, but it's not about where I am, but where I am within myself, connected to myself in a deep way in this moment. And the more deeply I am connected to myself, where I am, how I feel, what I'm thinking in this moment, the more connected I am to the universe and to gratitude.
Yeah, it sounds very profound. You know, it's like it's radical, and like there is no other choice that really going deep and stay within it.
Yeah, the more time I can spend connected to self, the more time that I spend connected to gratitude. And it's changed my life, you know, going from a big goal-oriented person, which I've always been in life, to eliminating goal setting and just opening myself up to surrendering to the moment, because that's where I spend all of my time.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Thank you. That's changed my life radically.
I think Fred is feeling very grateful right now just by listening to you.
Yeah, actually I am. I really love the way that you phrase it. It feels so authentic, and it's something that I adore in people, authenticity. And it feels like you so embraced and embodied your value that, wow, I found it very beautiful.
Yeah, I found myself there.
Yes, that's so important.
Yeah.
What about you, Christie? Would you like to share your own definition of gratitude?
Yeah, thank you, Benedict. I was, first of all, really excited to see that this was the topic today, is gratitude. I think that gratitude can play a really big part in our lives at this particular point in time. And in thinking about what gratitude is, for me, it's threefold. First of all, gratitude to me is simply the acknowledgement that there is something good and that there is something positive. And then taking that idea to another level, sometimes that what we see as being good and positive is often sometimes that something that is outside of ourselves, something that maybe has been given to us by somebody or something. If you believe in a higher power, maybe you might believe that you've been given something, or even just simply circumstance. And when we acknowledge that in my business, with dealing very much with the physical body, there can often be a tendency to look at what we don't like, what we want to fix, what we want to change. I don't like my stomach. I don't like my weight. I don't like the way I look. I don't like the way I feel. But in acknowledging what is good, what feels good, what do you love? What this does is it creates this need to respond to that goodness, maybe to pay back that goodness, or maybe just to focus and to acknowledge on that what is good, rather than the things that we're always striving to change.
Well, guys who are listening to us before, right now, before the call, we were actually talking about magic with all the panelists. We had a 15 minutes brief before being live, and in what you're saying, Christie, I hear again some kind of magic.
That's right. When we acknowledge what we love, there is magic in that. It changes our perspective on what we're looking at. We look at it from a place of acceptance and a place of kindness and empathy, rather than a place of feeling negative and wanting to change things.
It's interesting, when you're talking about love because I'm always wondering what's the big difference between gratitude and love. Is anyone willing to respond to that? Do you have any, I don't know, anything to say around that? Julia, do you have some insight you'd like to share with us?
I feel like gratitude is the form of expression we have for love.
Okay.
Yes, I think that's a good way to put it, and I do agree with James and Christie about defining gratitude, and I see it in similar kind of words: acceptance, awareness, mindfulness, exercise, and the only thing I wanted to add to what the guys already said is that when it comes to magic, gratitude is this fuel. Like, it's this little exercise that we can do, we can develop before we get to this radical transformation, and it impacts the reality we're creating, or it impacts the reality we surrender to, because it's all about surrendering. And we have to do a lot of homework to get there. But I mean, gratitude is just such an easy way, kind of a shortcut to just jump right in and see it interact with you. And since you guys have noticed, I'm a lot into challenging others, challenging myself, and playing games. So being grateful, and it's like a game to me, playing this game with the universe, when you can actually see how your gratitude, it's this powerful energy that comes back at you once you express it, once you're in it, once you're in this frequency. And it's a higher frequency than our mind is trying to devalue our experiences, right? Like Christie has mentioned, that we don't appreciate things sometimes, and we get used to things, we take them for granted, and it's nothing personal. Like, it's just our mind's ability. And then when you get into this, we shift the frequency into gratitude state, then the whole world is starting to respond to it, and you feel it. It's in your body, and it takes you. It's like a flow, and it's just powerful.
Wow, nice. Thank you for saying that. And the way you say it, it sounds so easy. Like, it's simple. Like, everyone has it, within themselves, and everyone can access it.
Yes.
Yeah,
But
I think
is it really?
it is in all of us, and we can access it, but it's all determined by our ability to stay connected and the depth to which we can create that connection to self. But we live in our subconscious mind 24/7, avoiding all of the shit that we bury in here. We live in our life buried in subconscious, and we don't have the connection to self, and that's where the magic happens.
What about you, Andrea? How would you make the difference between love and gratitude?
Well, I love that connection was brought up. I think of gratitude as really a way to get into the heart space. Like, so many of us spend so much time in the mind. I certainly do. And, there's nothing wrong with the mind. The mind's, beautiful. But I think, for some of us, we can kind of detach from, as people have been talking about, like, we can detach from self and presence and that feeling of love. And, for all kinds of, maybe good reasons, like, I think a lot of us have gone through a lot of trauma, and, even if we personally haven't, like, I think generationally, there's a lot of trauma. And I think one of the effects of that is kind of receding a little bit into the mind. And I think gratitude is one way to, I like this idea of a shortcut. I think it is kind of a way into, like, a whole different way of being, a way of really being in the heart, being in that space of love, being in, presence, being connected to self.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, yes, totally.
What's the last thing that you've been grateful for? Andrea, would you like to do that?
I mean, I feel like, I mean, also just like it's, you know, it is something I work on. Like it's, you know, it's, yeah, like it's a practice for me. But I do feel like grateful all the time for all kinds of little things, you know, like grateful that the sun came out and is shining, you know, grateful that I have a home that I love. I'm grateful for like plants and flowers and beauty and the sky and my friends. And, you know, like it's like just little things, like in every moment, just, you know, like I'm grateful that, you know, I'm grateful that I live in this beautiful city. Like, yeah. And I feel like, of course, there are like big significant things too, but it's just those little moment by moment reminders to myself that kind of keep, you know, keep bringing me back to that place of the heart. Yeah.
So, and you mentioned it all a little earlier, but it sounds like it's more about being conscious about all those little things and just making a pause for a couple of seconds and reminding ourselves, by the way, this is amazing, this is beautiful, I'm so grateful, so privileged to have this or that in my life. But the more you actually take the time to be conscious about it, and more you can actually embrace the gratefulness of everything that's actually surrounding us. I'm sure James would agree with that, you, the conscious coach.
I would agree with that. And as much as I can appreciate, like you were talking about your appreciation of the mind, and I've certainly had my longest relationship has been in there. But, you know, as much as I am a recovering intellectual, the mind is just somebody that I used to know.
What about you, Fred? When is the last time you've been grateful for?
What's me? You made me work?
Yeah. There is another Fred behind you. Can you see her?
No.
You, darling.
So there's so many things that I love that you just say. I think that for me, I love to see gratitude as a key. It's a key to see through your heart. I think it's like you just come and it's just open and you're like, oh, that's another point of view, and that's quite refreshing. It's not through my mind. And there is something that I really love about gratitude. It's like it makes things fair because it is a practice, in my opinion. So there's some people who have like we're not born the same way, and there's for some people being positive is natural, and we cannot do anything about that. But gratitude practice actually does something. So it just like it brings you that new approach, that new focus on something, and you can be positive. And the same way that you go to the gym and you just like train those muscles, you can really practice being grateful, and it just like makes things feel kinder, and you see through your heart instead of just like seeing all the challenge and the problem. You might see a little bit of magic there, and that's what I love. And I discovered about gratitude because I didn't know that you could practice that it could be like a muscle. And I am just like Andrea. I just grateful for so many tiny things, and that are big. And I like to go in my bed at night and just think about all those tiny things during my day where I'm grateful for, and fall asleep with that energy. And I'm always amazed because I really think that that day sucked. And I'm like, are you sure? Did you find something that you really like in that day? And there's like, you can see the devil of the mind was like, and the heart like coming and just say like, yes, you actually had a walk with a friend. That was fantastic. Like my partner made a delicious dinner. That was fantastic. And I realized that the day is made of so many beautiful moments, and we just have a tendency to put them on the side, which is too bad. But it's a practice to just bring them back and be way more present. So yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, everything is a practice. And
Yes.
you know, people come forward all the time. I've been guilty of it too. And oh, well, it's a bad day. There's really no such thing as a bad day or a good day. Life just is life. But
Yes.
Our perspective is reality. So whatever you're focused on and wherever you are connected within yourself, that's what your reality is going to be. But it doesn't make it true. But as long as it's true to you, that's what you'll accept.
Exactly. That's exactly how I see it. And like, even like saying to you like a bad day, there's a part of me like me, because that's just your approach to that day. And I like to have an approach where it's more like open and grateful. And so I would be also in my job, I need to help others, like just everybody of you help others. And if I just have the focus is like aiming at me, I will not be able to help others. So that practice really helped me in that way.
Nice.
I love that point. I think that one of the magical things, I guess, about gratitude is that it really reminds us of our connection, you know, like our embeddedness in this world and our connection to other people. And, you know, that we're not just this like isolated being, but yeah, we're really in relation, and that it's so important, I think, to acknowledge that.
Yeah.
I think what you're saying too, Andrea, I love what you said about beginning by looking at the little things you're grateful for, looking at the sun and the flowers and how you begin your day, the small things. And James, the mindfulness in being in the present moment, experiencing gratitude. And I think that one of the most powerful things about gratitude, when we were talking about love, is gratitude, I think, can help us to foster empathy. And so if you, Benedict, if you do me a favor, you do something nice for me, and maybe it took a little bit of effort for you or some time out of your day to do that for me. If I can experience gratitude for your effort, then it puts me in your shoes for a moment, that I can now understand maybe what you had to give up to do something nice for me. And empathy is, in my opinion, the highest human quality. And it is connected to love. The empathy is our connection to each other and the ability to step into someone else's life and understand someone else a little bit deeper. So by beginning your day with something simple like being grateful for the sun being out, you can then start to imagine how other people being outside are experiencing that sun and feeling that gratitude. And this is what connects us all to each other.
I totally agree with that. Like I think the reason why all these things come to play within each other is because these things, for me, these things are all the fabric of our being. You know, love, happiness, peace, joy are all part of the fabric of our being. And the more that we're connected to self, the more that we experience those. So going to empathy and appreciating what somebody else has done for us, well, the only way I can really appreciate it is to feel it. So I connect to myself, and that allows me to connect to that emotional connection within you, because we are literally energetically interconnected with each other. We don't love each other's company. We're actually bonded with each other. That's the way I look at it. So connecting to self allows me to connect to you, and connecting to self allows me to be connected to gratitude.
So what do you do, guys, to practice being grateful, connecting to others? Do you have any tips or any, I don't know, habits you have to practice gratitude?
I recently started a gratitude journal. I actually bought a journal, and I had no idea what to write in it. And I started just by writing sort of, here's how I feel today. And it wasn't really going anywhere. And I actually asked a client of mine, I know that she journals, and I said, what do you like, what do you journal about when you journal? What do you write about? And she said, well, I started practicing a gratitude journal, which is very simple, that every day you just write down one simple thing that you're grateful for today, just a paragraph. And I've just recently started this, and it's very positive, and it's very, very uplifting. You know, just something simple every day. The first thing that comes to your mind, what is it that you're grateful for? I'm grateful for today for my partner for helping me figure out this whole Zoom thing, and so that I'm not crashing and talking to myself or upside down every time that I come into the screen. And you know, every day looking, and then I can look back on those things, and when I have that bad day, you know, where, you know, I wake up and things feel like they kind of suck, then I can look back at what I wrote over the last few days, and it brings me back to a different place. It helps me to see things from a different frame of mind. It's been really helpful, and I'm grateful to my client for suggesting that that's what I journal about. Otherwise, I'd be sitting here with this empty book.
It's just beautiful that you were actually inspired by your clients, and earlier when we were talking about connection, that's exactly what it is. You know, you're just a proof of what we're saying. So it's beautiful.
Thank you.
What about you, Julia? Do you have any practice, any tips you'd like to share with us?
Yes, I'd love to share my practice because I think there's not much else in the world that there's more powerful and simple at the same time. So for the past few years, I've been doing this simple exercise on gratitude, which is waking up and listing 5 things I'm grateful for before I grab my cell phone, because you know you guys are all in this industry, helping people, inspiring people, and we don't grab our phone first thing in the morning, right?
We don't.
No, we don't.
No,
Never.
absolutely not.
Never.
No. Yeah, but nobody says about grabbing your phone the second thing in the morning. Is that still like it's fair? Not so good. Anyway, I negotiate with my brain, so I will get a reward by being good and listing 5 things I'm grateful for, and then I can grab my phone and say, okay, how many likes did I get? And how many messages I got. So that's my little game in the morning. See, I'm already starting my morning with so much drama and tension. But so, for a writer, it's bliss. Okay, anyway, so I just mentioned I mentioned to myself 3 or 5 things. It can be absolutely anything. Usually it's things about what happened yesterday. Like for example, yesterday my husband made me a latte. Like he learned how to make a latte without an espresso machine. That it was fantastic. So then some people helped me out to set up me with kombucha. So people were giving me bottles and a jar and the SCOBY. So I was grateful for that. And the biggest thing that's happening right now is I want to tell you a story actually. I think it's very inspiring since we're talking about gratitude. I'll try to be fast. So so my dad, he's had a garden for many years and he's growing flowers there and he's so passionate about flowers. He has almost 200 flowers now. My dad didn't have a smartphone. I went to Russia last year and I hooked him up with a smartphone. Like I set everything up, and now he's using his smartphone. And 2 weeks ago, he started sending me photos of flowers from his garden, and it's absolutely amazing. So he sent, like right now we're living in a tough time, right? We have pandemic, we have planetary positions that are really kind of challenging and dodgy, and we're all going through some motions, right? And he sends me these flowers, and I get all excited. So I'm grateful for that. But another thing of the another thing I wanted to mention to you is that a couple of years ago, my friend here in Whistler, he picked me up and I told him, "Oh, sorry, I'm a bit late because my dad just phoned me and we talked." And he goes, "Oh, your dad, he's such a nice guy." And I just look at him saying, "Yes, but what are you talking about? What do you mean such a nice guy?" Like, I mean, and then he tells me that his dad never phones him, never, for years, for many, many years. They barely talk. They don't have a connection. I mean, they still kind of communicate because, their son and dad, and his dad is like 80s now, in his 80s. So they're not friends. Like I'm very close with my dad. Like sometimes we don't talk for 2-3 months because we're busy, but we're still close. But I didn't realize that I was actually taking my dad phone calls for granted. I didn't realize it until that moment when my friend pointed out, "Oh, your dad is nice. He phones you." And I thought, well, of course he phones me. What else is he supposed to be doing? Anyway, that's my story for today. And I hope you find something uplifting in it.
Thanks for sharing.
I think it's so important indeed to remind ourselves that nothing should be for granted and that every little thing that happens to us has some magic actually and has some beautifulness in it. And there is no small thing, they're just things that are part of our life and that can have, a smaller or bigger impact. But yeah, that's a beautiful story.
What I also realized, that's just the last thing, the more we express our gratitude, the more there are things in our life that we are grateful for. So it really is a creation of your reality exercise because they really just pop up. And I think Fred has mentioned something like something similar to this, right? Like the more you're grateful, the more like reality drops things on you to be grateful for. It just keeps dropping them.
That's the definition of abundance.
Yes.
Yes. So thank you, Julia.
What I love about our call today is that we have 4 very different people doing very different things, and we're all talking about gratitude. So, we have a coach, we have an astrologer, we have a personal trainer, we have a human design practitioner. So I'm just curious as well, how do you bring gratitude? How do you work with
Sorry, I switched another tab.
Can you hear Benedict saying a question?
No.
No.
Can you hear some guy talking?
Yes, we can hear you.
The last part of her question got blurred.
Yeah. No. So you wanted to know, like, how can they bring gratitude in that practice? Yes. Yes, I've got alpha psychic one. So guys,
when we cannot hear myself.
It was almost like Benedict started watching a TV all of a sudden. Like there's this TV comes up. That's what I heard.
Oh yes, a TV. I didn't hear the TV.
A fifth you're invited we didn't know about. So my question was actually, how do you bring gratitude in your practice, in your professional practice? How do you use it with your clients? How does gratitude actually take a full place in your practice? Andrea, would you like to respond to that?
Sure. Yeah, I'm still kind of thinking about that. Certainly when I teach yoga, I'll sometimes guide, a simple gratitude practice often at the end, just, like kind of like people have been talking about with journaling, like, just feeling into some of the things that you feel grateful for in this moment. And really going into the feeling, trying to, because, we can think about gratitude, right? But I think the key is to feel it, right? But as you were asking the question, I was thinking, how do I bring this into my readings? And actually, I think that's a good little nudge for me, that, that's something for me to think about, because yeah, maybe there are more ways that I can work that into readings. Certainly, like, for myself, I often feel gratitude doing readings, just in having this really beautiful connection with someone. Like, I really feel so grateful to do this work, and to have, the opportunity to connect with people I've never met in, sometimes really profound ways. And so I think, yeah, sometimes there is just kind of a bit of an undertone, I'd say, of gratitude. But yeah, something for me to think about, like, are there more practical ways that I could bring that in? So yeah, thank you for that.
And it resonates with me in a way that, again, gratitude is a very simple, easy thing, and sometimes it's just a matter of expressing that gratitude. And I hear how grateful you are when you actually do readings, and I think it's sometimes just important, again, in that perspective, to connect with others, to tell them how grateful we are just for that special moment we're actually living with them. This morning I started working with a new client, and I was just fulfilled, with so many beautiful emotions, just because we really managed to connect. She trusted me, with telling me her entire story, and I felt very grateful for that. And the fact to mention that to someone else, whether it's your clients, your friends, family, whoever it is, really makes gratitude even, blow up. Like, it takes a different dimension and amplitude. So yeah. Maybe you other guys, you have some tips to share with me, with Andrea, about what you do to maybe bring gratitude more in your practice, in your life.
Well, as Andrea said, you use gratitude sometimes when you teach yoga, and I often use gratitude as a theme through my classes, particularly in yoga. When I'm teaching yoga, we begin with a moment of just being aware of your body in the space around you in the moment. We do this in other types of fitness classes too. I always try to start with just a moment of just noticing where you're at. And I like to bring the question to my participants: what feels good today? What feels great? Do your muscles feel great today? Does your body feel great today? Are you feeling strong in your legs? Are you feeling grounded? Are you feeling energized? Are you feeling positive? What feels good? And throughout sessions, focusing on the things that are constant, the things that we talked about, taking things for granted, like breathing and your heartbeat. And so I like to encourage people throughout, whether I'm training people one-on-one or in a group, take a time out, notice your breathing, just notice it. And when we notice that and we become aware of how easy it is to breathe in and out, that's something to be grateful for. Noticing your heartbeat, that steady rhythm, things you don't have to think about. And sometimes when we notice the things that we do tend to take for granted, and we really focus in on how amazing those things are, our ability to stand upright and not fall over on two little tiny feet, it makes those simple things really magical. And the physical body is amazing. Like, it fills me with wonder every single day. And so for me, gratitude is very, very easy to bring into my practice every single day. If you're with me and you're well enough to participate with me in an exercise class, be grateful that your body can do this, even if it hurts. And then when it's over, when the class is over, I like to encourage people to be grateful that it's over. That doesn't take too much prodding.
I love that. And I think that working with the body, is such a beautiful way to work with gratitude. Like, for one, because as you say, like there's so much to be grateful for, and just like, yeah, having a body and, you know, experiencing like physical existence. But also because it's another way I think that we can kind of not necessarily get out of the mind, but get out of that place where we're just in the mind, right? To like be embodied and to really feel. I think that's a really key part of gratitude, for sure. Yeah. And certainly for myself, work like feeling into gratitude in my yoga practice or in an embodiment practice is really helpful, so that, yeah, I'm like not just thinking it or listing things, but really feeling it. Yeah, so I love that.
Thank you, Andrea. Do you guys have like a story to share with us where you, I don't know, witnessed a client of yours, or maybe yourself, or friend and family, whoever, has a beautiful impact on you know, their life thanks to gratitude, like someone who really benefited in a very particular way from gratitude? Any story you'd like to share?
Dun, dun, dun.
I can share a story.
What is that
Fred, do you want to share a story, or I can share a little bit?
The writer wants to share the story.
Yes, I am a natural storyteller, so.
Oh, yes.
Well, my story is just, I don't know if I'm answering the question directly, Benedict, I'm not sure. But it just came to my mind that I wanted to explore the other side of being grateful. So I told you that why is it a game with the universe? Because even when we are having a bad day, and somebody has mentioned it, was it you, Christie? And I can't remember, but one of you has mentioned that if you're having a bad day or something, for example, I was having a bad day, and I remember I was walking on the street and I was just feeling kind of lost and very confused. And, you know, one of those blue moments, I call them black water, like I've entered this black water and it's kind of thick and it's intense. And I'm just walking there, and you're not necessarily remembering, you know, how to get to the high frequency in this state. And sometimes we do have to be melancholic and we have to get there. But then the car was passing by, and it started honking. So it's like, and I was like shocked, like, oh. So I was brought out of that state, and the guys in the car were just waving at me, just like, for no reason. So, and I saw it as a sign that the universe is trying to bring me to this gratitude state back again. So, and I'm like, I'm looking at them, I'm like, oh, these silly idiots. But I'm feeling grateful that they did this, that they started honking, and I'm like, you know, startled me, and I'm like, oh, you know, I'm not lost anymore. I'm not in despair. Like, I'm just grateful. Okay, thank you guys. You took me out of the state. And then I remember I got home and I had some cookies hanging on my door. It's my neighbor, very nice neighbor. She brought me some cookies and freshly made. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so grateful. So the universe, so you're giving your gratitude, right? Like you're doing your practice, you're doing your homework, and you guys have shared amazing things about how to be grateful and how to incorporate it. And then the universe is trying to pull you back to this frequency that you had, right? So it doesn't want you to stay low for too long. So it kind of helps you out. And I thought, oh my God, I love this. I love this game. And just as we're talking, guys, seriously, magic has happened. You know what I found? I found this on my wall. I'm going to show you. Like, I'm not making this up. It says, gratitude. And this is my husband's office, and I actually posted it for him because, you know, I'll show. Yeah, so there's computers and everything. So, and I just posted it for him, and I forgot about it. Like, it's been sitting here, and it's just amazing that it's like I think when Benedict was asking a question, I saw it and I thought, wow, it's been sitting here. Amazing.
We love those universe signs. It's
Yeah.
beautiful. And what I appreciate in what you're saying as well is, it doesn't matter, where it can come from. It doesn't matter what really happened to you, but it's about how you feel about it. And if you feel that's obviously what really matters. Yeah.
Well, for me, like somebody brought up abundance earlier, law of attraction, abundance. We all want to have more, feel more in life. And I think I'd been, life had imploded and I'd been working on myself for about maybe 2-3 years, and just die hard, working my tail off to, I called it the big renovation, working on myself. I'll just fix the things that are broken so I can move on, like the naive man I was. And I think I was working at it about 2-3 years at that point, and all of a sudden I had this epiphany one day in focusing so hard on my personal development, and I thought, oh my God, I don't think I believe in it. I don't think that we actually develop personally at all. I think we're not adding to self. We're actually spending our time removing from us the untruths that we've always seen within ourselves, so that we can reveal the truth that we've always been. So for me, connecting to gratitude isn't what I can add in. It's actually, what do I need to take away to reveal what's already there? Because gratitude doesn't come and go. My connection to it does.
I'm gonna leave very inspired. Thank you for that, really. Thank you for sharing, your professional but life experiences as well. I really appreciate you to be very open to us and share real stories that you have experienced. I think it's time for another kind of question. Fred, are you ready to take over?
Yeah, Benedict, and thank you so much for everybody. I absolutely love everything that you said. I have a secret. I want to hug every one of you because it was so beautiful. I wish I could hug all of you. I'm so happy because it's exactly what we wanted. And thank you for being a part of that, because we really wanted to show that there is not just one approach to a theme, but so many of them. And having people that we trust and that we admire, and we love your professionalism, and having a quality discussion. And thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. We do have a question. Be prepared. It's a bit long. So the question is, with everything happening in the world, I often feel an incredible sense of privilege for things that I have in my life that others do not. Many of them things I can only attribute to luck. I'd like to think that gratitude helps me to keep me aware of those things, so that it can motivate me to do more, to help those who were not lucky. I'm wondering if any panelists have experience with this. What are ways to turn gratitude into practice that's not only for our own well-being or the well-being of our clients, but encourages us to do more for others who have less? Is anybody wants to
I love that question. And I actually feel like in some ways you almost answered the question in the question, because I think that that's such a beautiful response to privilege and to that realization that you have privilege, because one alternative is to go into guilt or entitlement, or and whereas I think if we can really harness the gratitude for what we have, then that already kind of puts us in the direction of being able to help other people. I don't know if we're actually able to be, generous and helpful without going through that route of gratitude. Yeah,
I totally agree. I think it begins with that, actually. So, but sometimes it's almost that we feel guilty. I don't know if you have that, but it's of course, we realize that we have privilege, and And that even during that virus where there's lots of people who suffered, and you're like, oh, but I'm happy. I actually like I'm good and I have everything that I need and I'm happy. And you have that tiny voice saying, like, do you think you should be happy?
Yeah.
And actually, yes, it's you take that moment, because once you don't know if you're going to be happy the moment after, and then I think by being grounding, happy, kinder, you help other. So, but that's a cunning way of seeing it sometimes.
And I think also, just to add on to that, that if we're helping, like, there's no way to help other people out of guilt, you know, like you might try to, you know, and you could do all these things, and I'm, you know, but will it really be helpful if you're acting out of guilt? Like there's this energy of like, oh, like, you know, no one wants that help anyway, I don't think. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. And the same way that justice has like its covered eyes, I think that when we help each other, it has to come from a very grounded and strong position. So yeah.
When we feel gratitude for something, and then we think, it helps us to think of other people, as you said, and other people who we may not perceive that maybe they don't have as much to be grateful for. I think you just pay it forward and let others know how they make you feel gratitude. So, you know, yes. I'm grateful to the people who follow me, who support me in trying to, you know, remake my business online. And I think it could be just as simple as the gift of shining that light of gratitude on someone else for a moment, for just anything, just for being there, for offering a kind word, for friendship, for support, and just saying to them, I'm grateful for you. I think it's like shining the sun on somebody, you know, and that can change someone's day, just a few words. And that's all you have to do, I think, is just a few kind words of how somebody has inspired gratitude in you can really shift their day, maybe from being a bad day to a good day.
Oh yes, really, sometimes we underestimate that tiny things that we can do can impact and maybe be on the gratitude list of somebody else. It's like just smiling at a person in the street. Sometimes I just put that in my gratitude list, like, yeah, that is a beautiful man. Okay, maybe not that. Give me a big smile and makes me happy. And sometimes it was like challenging day and there is only that on my gratitude list, and it's quite important. And also I really love, Christie, as you share, like to say to the people in front of us how you share that you are grateful for being here and for their presence. And when I teach Reiki or when I give Reiki, I also finish the session. It's a big part is gratitude at the end. So you thank the person for being here today and for being vulnerable. And of course, you, Christie, you have that too, because that person, they come with all their stories and like, oh, I don't like that, I want to fix that. And so they are vulnerable to you to share that with you. So we really share that. We share the energy for being here. We share all the guide who maybe help you. You are grateful for your teacher for the transmission of your knowledge. And that's the end of the session. And when I teach to students, I say, don't forget that part. That part is the most important part of the session. It's like you connect with the heart and you finish with the heart and you send it. It's the ribbon of the gift. So it's quite a important part in my opinion. And also when I teach meditation, I say thank you for your vulnerability to come here, because meditating groups sometimes is challenging. But I say I'm also very vulnerable too, because guided meditation sometimes it's tricky. So it's a place of vulnerability. So I'm very grateful, and they just like, oh, very grateful too. It's just like saying also on the same level, you know, that we are here to experience and appreciate life. Well,
Nice.
I think, yeah, I thank the person for that question. And I would like also to know, like, during that time of the virus, how are you doing with like your business? Were you able to work like remotely? Like Christie, you mentioned that you are like doing online classes, which by the way, I have lots of positive feedback from people. So
Really?
great job.
That's great. Thank you.
Oh yes. Yes, your
Thank you.
Pilates classes like and yoga is very well
Great.
appreciated.
Thank you. Yeah, it's I mean, I the way I looked at it, I didn't have a choice. You know, that this was my living, and the gyms that I was working at closed, and the colleges that I was teaching at closed, and so you have to adapt, and you have to adapt to survive. So I adapted fast. Adapting is painful. It hurts, and it was uncomfortable, and it still is a little bit, but it's, again, you know, gratitude personally, there couldn't have been a more appropriate topic for right now, because it's working. It's working.
Yes.
And I mean, every day is a new day. So every day I'm just like, wow, it's still working. I woke up this morning and people are still coming. And so every day is like, yay, this is great. I'm actually really liking it. You know, I know a lot of people get Zoom fatigue, and I actually really like it. You know, you get to look into people's kitchens, and I can see what your kitchen looks like, the art on your walls. It's kind of like a little sneaky open house. Everybody's lives.
I love it.
So you just have to, like, this is my new world now. This is my new life, and I'm happy and I'm thankful that I actually could do this, you know.
So you think that gratitude gives you more flexibility to adapt during the virus?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, it gave me more intrinsic motivation, you know, absolutely. Every time I see that someone has subscribed to my classes, I get this little thrill. My phone goes off. My phone makes a little noise, this little ding ding when somebody's subscribed to my class, and that's the sound of happiness. that ding ding is the sound of gratitude. So yeah, it's weird, but every day is filled with it more than ever.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. James, how's your business online?
Well, I love gratitude, and I love sharing gratitude with people, but let's face it, my business is taking people to gratitude. So that's out of suffering. And for me, the isolation has been, like I expressed, radical presence. And for me, that was a gift. That was immediate comfort, more or less. But for most other people, being present in the moment is not so welcome. When they are dependent on the busyness of life as a distraction from self, and all of a sudden all of that is just stripped from them, sitting present with what's in there that they're not normally used to has been very uncomfortable. So for me, people coming to that place and not knowing, well, what do I do about this, because this isn't going away, has been an opportunity to be able to help people on that journey. And I've been taking advantage of it myself intentionally, because I can't take anybody anywhere that I haven't been within myself. So my journey is always ongoing too.
Thank you. No, I really appreciate your vision on that. And as much I would like to continue that discussion, our time is on. It is 9. So I really, really would like to thank all of you for being here. Like I thought it was such a beautiful, beautiful talk. And one last thing, there's a book that is pretty good about gratitude. It's called like Sense How Practicing Gratitude Can Make You Happier by Robert Emmons. And it's all about experiences, like gratitude in lots of different area of life, and it's very holistic. And there's lots of exercise and scientific researches on gratitude. It's fantastic how it increase self-esteem, productivity, just by saying thank you to your coworker, for example. They actually make a scientific experiment to show how much it improved the well-being of their employee. So I recommend that book. I will put it in the link, and I will see you soon. See all of you very soon. I hope I will go to Spain to see you, James. Oh, yes.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I will see you. Oh, yes, let's all go. That's fantastic. Oh, yes. And Yulia, you might go to Spain too. So yeah.
Oh, we will be going. Yes, we're still moving to Spain.
Yes.
As soon as this madness is over, we're moving to Spain, to Ronda.
Yes,
Ronda.
Oh, so we'll make one stop to Valencia, and after Ronda.
Sounds like a plan.
The plan. And you're all coming with us. Well, Benedict, can we just close the session now?
Yes, just a final note. Thank you so much all for being here today. Like you said, gratitude is contagious. So please keep spreading that over you. You guys, I'm talking to watching now. You soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye, guys. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.